Hi everyone, sorry about the delay. Thank you very much for being patient and continuing to listen. I appreciate that. What I'm going to do, hopefully it'll be worthwhile. Hopefully you'll get great value from what I'm going to cover this evening. The purpose of this webinar really is to help people try to move their businesses forward. And one of the ways that I believe that we can do that and are doing that is to take advantage of the online opportunity. So most of this is going to be about online tonight, but it's worth pointing out that if you're already in the business and you're established in the business and you have a really good customer base in the business, then the purpose of this webinar is not really to get you to retail more product on Facebook. Someone said recently that we needed more products on a post on Facebook, which I find staggering actually. I think we don't need more products. What we need, we have enough products. We have more products than probably any other network marketing business in the world. What we need is more people, and we need to be effective at promoting the opportunity to other people and to take advantage of what's now available, because I believe that what we have now available is totally unique and it's changed and evolved, and I'm going to show you why I believe the opportunity has never been as good as it is now. But I'm also going to go into a bit of how-to to show you how you can take advantage of that. And I'm going to put up a training now, and hopefully everything will go okay and you can see this. But here's a quote from a guy called Bill Gates, head of Microsoft, who said that if he was starting all over again, he would join a network marketing business, which is a fascinating comment from a multi-billionaire, one of the richest people in the world, giving away more money, I think, than any other entrepreneur in history, I think, actually. And but it's interesting that he would say that if he was starting out again, he would join a network marketing business. But he's by no means the only person to say that. Donald Trump said exactly the same thing. Robert Kiyosaki also said it. So what is it they see, and what would they make of our business? Like I said, most businesses have only got a handful of products. Might be a niche market product. We have mass market products, nearly 2,000 products. So I reckon that our business sits alone in the world in terms of an opportunity. But the question is, are people really embracing change? And one of the things that people may overlook is that in the UK, we have the fastest growing growth sector in retail online, with 100 billion spend now in the UK in e-commerce, which is amazing, 100 billion. And 2/3 of the population now shop online. We now have a new K-Life catalogue coming out with increased profit, 50% more than we had before. We have PayPal and PayDirect coming in. We have the dropship option. So we've got some pretty amazing things. If I was to look at a business and I was looking for, you know, what are the market conditions like, what's actually going on in the marketplace, it couldn't get any better than that, I don't think. The question is, what will you do to maximize that opportunity? Because the opportunity, I promise you, is vast. It's mind-bogglingly huge. Here's some key principles, though. It is about, and this is something, the reason why I put this in is I believe that people overlook it. It's about duplication of a successful formula or a successful system. There's no risk. This is crucially important. If we're talking about what will duplicate and what will not duplicate, we want minimal risk. We want predictable outcomes, and we want residual income. One of the major points of our business, one of the unique aspects of our business, is that we have the ability to develop residual income. And we achieve that by duplicating a successful system or a successful formula. And I think people overlook that. I think they really do overlook that, and they kind of get caught up in things which don't duplicate very well. So I'm going to hopefully come on to that. Paris, we have some amazing rewards in this opportunity. We've been on, I think, 17 overseas conferences. We just come back from Jamaica, but we've been all over the world, and the world is your oyster, like I said at the conference. But I believe that you should use the conferences to build your business. I believe that you should promote the conferences to build your business. I think you should all set goals to be in Paris, because when you set goals and you go to work on the goals will go to work on you. And when you achieve those goals, I believe that when you come back from those trips, you come back a changed person. So what I'm going to talk about is getting to Paris and why I think we're in a unique position to use the online system. Now, wherever you are in the business, I believe that if you go out and sponsor 15 to 20 people, and if you do some of the things that I'm going to tell you tonight, you'll see how easy that is, and you'll see evidence that getting to gold distributor, moving up the pay plan is not going to be difficult for you by period 8. I believe that you can absolutely get that in place. So what I'm going to cover is how you can actually do that, and that will by necessity involve working effectively with Facebook selling. It is a fact that people buy people, and we're in a people business. And in many ways, Facebook is uniquely positioned to take advantage of what we do, because in essence, what we do is we create profit, we share ideas, we get excited, we communicate with other people, and we build relationships with people. And the best place to start that is really with people we know. And that means your contact list or warm list. And I believe that Facebook is absolutely right at the forefront of working your contact list. And the opportunity has evolved in the last couple of years. And I believe we've never been in such a good position as we are now. I'll explain why in a second. But if you think about it, we've just come through the biggest and longest recession probably in our lifetimes. There are people working on 0 hours contracts. I spoke to a lady today who was on a 0 hours contract, I think making about £6.70 an hour, which is like a horrible income, no lifestyle, no certainty of what she could do with her life. So why would she not take an opportunity to look at something which could change all that? But it's all about duplication of a system. And like I said earlier, I recommend that you duplicate the successful system of your successful upline. This is really, really important. But I'm going to tell you why I think that the online side of the business can help you. If you think about it, we have lots of coaching systems, we run lots of workshops, but in essence, this is really what we have to do. First of all, let's talk about you. What do you actually do in your business to duplicate a successful system? First of all, I would suggest the first thing we have to do is to create profit, because the object of business is to be in profit. And this is fundamentally important to me personally, and I'll tell you why. I started the business with a friend of mine a few years ago, and it cost £70,000 to start the business and about £20,000 to maintain the business, to run the business. And we had a fleet of cars, we had expensive offices, we had visits from the bank manager to look forward to, who actually told us that the business was going to go down or could go down. And we knew that already. We didn't need her to tell us. But we took a huge financial risk, and it took us nearly 2 years to get that business into profit. But we did get it into profit, and it actually became one of the most successful. It was the largest brokerage of its type in the north of England. And when it got really rocking and rolling into profit, the guy that had 60% of the business sacked me, squeezed me out so that he could get my 40%. Now, the reason why I mentioned that story is I don't know whether it's just because I went through that experience, but when I look at the Clean Easy opportunity, I see an opportunity which enables anyone to create profit in the first week of being in business, which is absolutely incredible. And I do now earn a lot more money in this business than I earned in that conventional business that I've just been telling you about. So maybe I have a slightly different take on it, but I believe that when I sponsor people into the business, once they're into profit, I'm congratulating them because they have a profitable business, because it took me 2 years of working 7 days a week to get to that point. And maybe it's because I've been through that experience that I really, really value the opportunity itself. So the first thing is to create retail profit. And then we need to just share the idea. And it is a great idea. Why wouldn't you want to share it? But the final thing that I believe we need to do, in essence, is to promote events. So can you create profit? Can you share a good idea? And can you promote events? If you can do those three things, really, you can build a business. And I believe you can make a fortune in this business. Now, why is it different? What makes the online side different? And what makes Facebook different is I believe that when you have the ability to work online and use Facebook, I believe it puts you on the inside track of all of those things. I believe it makes it easier to create profit, makes it easier to share the opportunity, and promoting the events, that doesn't really change, but I believe that it will be easier to get people to events because of what I'm going to show you. So I believe that Facebook online will transform this business. Absolutely no question about it. And here's why. Have a look at this. This is Robert Kiyosaki, who I mentioned earlier. And he says the richest people in the world look for and build networks. Everyone else looks for work. And I think that's so true. Everyone else trades their time for money. And we have lots of people in the business doing really good retail in the business using Facebook. But they're just exchanging time for money. They're selling product. They're developing good linear incomes. Whereas what I actually think we should be doing is focusing more on building residual income. And again, Facebook is uniquely positioned to do that. How do we do it though? One of the things I believe we need to do is we need to work with new people. And the analogy I use, the fundamentals haven't really changed in the business. I know Peter and Jackie White and lots of people in their team have recruited people locally. And when they've recruited people, they've gone out and put catalogs out with people, collected those catalogs back in, and they've basically worked with people early on in the business to help build a bond, to build the relationship, and to help the person get off to a good start. And I think that's really important. But it's also important online. And also, if you read the GoPro book, this is the GoPro book by Eric Worre. And it's a really fantastic book. But if you read pages 101 to 109 of GoPro, I'm going to read a bit of it now, actually. I'm going to tell you exactly what he says. He's talking about his mentor. And he's talking about this guy, Michael Nelson, who helped new distributors create a game plan to get through the first few ranks and challenge them to do it quickly. He understood and helped me understand that it was a race to help a person get results quickly. So that's an interesting perspective on the business. When we start people in the business, do you actually treat it like a race to get people results quickly? Do you actually help them get he also goes on to say on page 107, how can they get their first customers? How can they get their first distributors? Can you encourage them to attend their first company event? So there's the three things straight away right there. And what steps can you take to help them get their first commission check? So clearly it's our responsibility, according to GoPro, to help people get off to a flying start. So I recommend that you read those pages really carefully and study what he says, but just take that with you, that it's now a race to get our new distributor a fast result. That's what he says in GoPro. So if you've overlooked that, have a look at it again. Here's one of the pitfalls of online selling. I believe that we have a really good system, and the system that Andy Boswell put together on Sell on FB is fantastic because it allows people to sell product and create profit. But there are some pitfalls to that, and what I've found is that some people need more help than others, and I believe the best way to motivate a new distributor is actually to get in and work with them, get in the trenches and work with them. And here's some useful search terms to find groups. This comes from Craig Skellen in our team, who I'll come back to later. But one of the things he says, he says you can use all these search terms in order to find groups. Now, but he goes one step further than that. Craig actually finds the groups with them. He joins groups himself in their area and then adds them into groups. So even if they're new to Facebook, he can get them into large numbers of groups quickly. And if you get them into large numbers of groups quickly by working with them, you can get them off to a flying start. And that's exactly what GoPro says. So there's just a very practical way that you can actually apply pages 101 to 109 in GoPro. So find some groups for your new distributor, do it with them, work with them. We do Skype calls, we work on Skype a lot, and we get them up and running fast. We also, at that point, actually, just on that point as well, we also, one of the other pitfalls is that they can take too long to download the images, change the images and all that. So we work with them to do that. And we have groups set up on Facebook with photos. We give them lists of the top selling products. So we make sure that we don't have a new distributor randomly selecting stuff which may or may not sell. We make sure we steer them in the right direction and get them selling the right stuff quickly. So can you see what that means for our business? Lisa Burke recently called it a revolution. And my question to you is, have you embraced change? And I'm not talking about your personal retail now. I'm not talking about that at all, because many of you, if you knew, then I probably am talking about your personal retail. But if you've been in the business a while, I'm not talking about your personal retail. I'm talking about your personal ability to coach people in a system. I'm talking about you being an effective coach by you being engaged fully in the process and by understanding the process and being able to steer people in the right direction so that you can take part in the revolution. Here's a case study. Martin Oakley did £1,334 of orders in his first 4 weeks. I introduced Martin and he joined the business, and I'm proud to say that we could offer him the business because he joined because he had mobility issues and he couldn't have gone out with catalogs. He wasn't physically able to go out with catalogs, and yet in his first 4 weeks he did £1,334 of orders all online, and he introduced someone from his contact list. That's because he got off to a flying start and got into profit quickly. In fact, sorry, let me just go back a step. If I can go back. Here's Martin Oakley again. One of the issues, as I was mentioning earlier, is profit. And how much profit do you need to make? Now, this is, like I said earlier, I want you to discuss this with your upline and follow your upline system. But recently, I've introduced a lot of people on Kit 2 to do online selling. Martin was one, because obviously he didn't need 250 catalogs. So the cost of Kit 2 is £50. So how easy is it, do you think, to create profit if your business has only cost 50 quid to get started? And that's a very, very important issue. And as soon as Martin had over £500 of orders, I congratulated him that he had a profitable business, and asked him who else did he know who might be interested in having a profitable business. And that's what led to him sponsoring his first person into the network. So think of it that way. As soon as someone's done £500 of orders, they have a profitable business. Now, like I said earlier, if you've done 2 years working 7 days a week to build a conventional business before you got into profit, you might look at £500 of orders slightly differently. That's my contention. Anyway, here's another one. Here's Elaine Clark Brownlee, £950 of orders in her first 10 days. So you can get fast results. If you get people off to a flying start, it massively impacts their perception of the business. Here's another one. Carol Dowds in Northern Ireland has 2 little boys, one 16 weeks, one 6 weeks, and she did £1,124 of orders in her first 4 weeks. And she has embraced online selling because it's easier for her. It's more time flexible than going out with catalogs with her 2 young children, and she's also introduced her mother into the business. So she's got her first retail customers, and she's got her first distributor, and she's been to her first event. Those are those 3 things that I was talking about earlier. Stacey Thomas and Lee Maddox, Northern Ireland, again, they did over £2,000 of orders online in their first 4 weeks, and in the first 2 periods earned over £900. Phenomenal. And they've also started sponsoring people into the business as well. And Stacey and Lee are actually in Craig Skellon's team. I think there's 8 case studies in there. 5 are Craig's, 3 are mine, but that's one of Craig's. And that's a fantastic opportunity for them because they work night shift at Tesco's. But you can see a fast result. That's the key, a fast result. Here's one of my favorites. Una Orr completed her 30-day challenge in her first 48 hours. Why? Because Craig Skellon made sure she got off to a flying start, got her into plenty of groups, got her up and running quickly, because it's a race. That's what you have to take on board tonight. It's a race to get people, customers quickly, distributors quickly, events quickly. And if you take that on board, you will get phenomenal results. Now, those results could only really be achieved online. We couldn't, no one, to my knowledge, has done £600 of orders before the catalogues arrived. Now, it's not impossible because in the old days, we used to go to visit people and we might have given them 1 catalogue before they got their full kit, before we did the kit issue. But it's unlikely, I would suggest, that someone could get £600 of orders in their first 48 hours. Try doing it that way. But she went on to do £1,560 of orders in her first 2 weeks online, which is amazing. So I believe that the online side of our business puts us in a unique position. But like I said earlier, it's not about how much we retail. It's about how much we share the idea with other people. And 5 out of the 8 people on here have actually sponsored other people. And that's the key point that I want you to take on board, because it's not actually about your results. This is the key thing. And I think too many people get kind of 20/20 vision into doing big retail. And I'm not saying don't do big retail. If you need to do big retail to pay your bills, fine. But do big sharing as well. Share the business through Facebook with as many people as you possibly can as well, because it's not about ultimately how much you retail. It's about how big you build your network. This is a network marketing business. So it's not about your results. It's about how effectively you can coach other people to follow a process. That's really what it's about. It's about you building a team. So, and again, when you're recruiting people, it's not about you just recruiting. It's about building a team. And again, I believe that Facebook and the contact list is uniquely positioned for that, because if you can build a group of people that already have a relationship with each other, they bond more quickly and they stay together longer. So people that you know, your contact list, and the people that you introduce and their contact list are very, very important part of this process. And Facebook is at the forefront of all of that. It sits perfectly with that, which is not necessarily the case if we're talking about putting out catalogs. And I'm not saying don't put out catalogs. I'm not knocking catalogs. I've put out catalogs with the best of them. I've retailed £4,000 from catalogs myself in 4 weeks. But what I'm saying to you is that if we're talking about building a team or building a network, it will duplicate more quickly people working on Facebook than it would asking people to put out 200 catalogs, because there will always be a percentage of people that will not put out catalogs. Well, all of those people can now join our business and happily get involved in our business and build their future. And also it's about who they lead you to, because as you'll see shortly, we have lots of people joining, but they're also promoting it to other people because they're excited. Because if you get someone a fast result and they get some customers quickly and they get profit quickly and they get other people in their team quickly, they will be happy to go down that road. So it's about who they might lead you to. And I believe you'll get access to high caliber people through people's contact lists. Here's another thing. If you think of, we teach in our business, we teach having a contact manager and building a database. And this is really, really important, because we want to use every inquiry on multiple occasions forever. So we recontact every lead by autoresponder and email broadcast. And whoever you've shown the business to in the last 5 years, if you've got a contact manager, you should recontact them immediately and tell them about this opportunity. Now, I'm going to cover this in detail, but when you do a broadcast, I believe that you should have lots of white space in the email, which means not lots of text, not lots of long paragraphs, very one line, 3 to 4 one-liners, basically, with space in between and a link to a video. So you don't need lots of text. You just need to post things like, in the subject box, their first name and "Are Facebook paying you yet?" or "Make money on Facebook while you sleep," because I've sponsored loads of people this way in the last couple of months. So "Are Facebook paying you yet?" and "Make money on Facebook while you sleep." Now, if you've got a database of people that have looked at your business opportunity and dismissed it because it was catalogs and because it was Clean Easy, you don't even need to mention Clean Easy at this stage of the process. You just need to say, "Are you making money on Facebook yet?" and then put a video out. And there are lots of videos you can send. And again, speak to your upline. But one of the things I've done really well, successfully, is I've just sent them a YouTube link to the K Live video. And this is actually to my database, which is not particularly warm. It's people that have responded to advertising over the years, so I wouldn't call it warm. But people have joined the business on the strength of watching the K-Life video, seeing the product range. And I know the product range is changing, but it doesn't matter, because it's only intended to give them a flavour of what the whole thing's about. So they've looked at the video, they've emailed me back or phoned me back, and I've said, yeah, that's right, it's marketing those products online through Facebook. It's 50 quid to get started. You get that back in about a week if you follow what we teach you to do. When do you want to get started? Is that simple and duplicatable enough? What do you think? Could you email someone a 4-minute video or 5-minute video about products, get them to watch the video, and then tell them there's an online business model using Facebook? And you can give them a brief overview of what we do on Facebook, but you don't really need to tell them much about it, really. They'll do it because it's online. Now, it's much, much more so the case if you're doing it with warm list. So I'm going to talk about contact list and warm list, because it's even better with warm list. Because if they watch the 4-minute video with warm list, if your warm list watches the 4-minute video, people that may have dismissed the business before, they watch the video and then they join on the strength of your relationship, just on the strength of the video, which is really amazing. Now, when you're contacting your warm list, I recommend that you reread, or if you haven't read it, get the book Go Pro and read pages 48 to 66, because it's all about how to contact your warm list. But I'm going to cover it tonight anyway. But like I've said earlier, repeatedly, please contact your upline. Please follow what your successful upline teaches you to do. So if they've already got a really good system in place for working warm list, then do that as well. But what I'm advising you to do is to recontact everyone, because if they've dismissed Clean Easy because it was catalogs and you think they'll never get involved, just recontact them, because we have a completely different business. We have a totally different business for all of those people. So have a read of pages 48 to 66, and it tells you not only what to say, it tells you how to say it, which is great. But I'm just going to give you an overview of that now. Here's some of the things which you might want to bear in mind. This is based on actually telephoning your contact list, which means all the people in your mobile phone, or it could be people on your Christmas card list, or it could be people on your wedding list if you've got one. But I believe you should be fast on the phone. You want to be off the phone in a couple of minutes. Phone them up, have a brief chit chat, invite them to take a look at the opportunity, and then confirm when they're going to watch the information and come back to you. Now, that's a kind of brief overview, but and confirm a time to go back to them. So follow up every person that you speak to. Here's how we do it. So this is what I call the warm list bliss. Now, if we're talking about getting to Paris, if you really want to go to Paris, this will get you to Paris. Based on what I've seen in my business so far, this will get you to Paris. So pay attention to what I'm going to give you now. First thing we do when we ring our warm list is open the call. And that just means really, hi, Mary, it's Neil. How are you? Not spoken to you for a while. If not spoken to you for a while, say, sorry to ring you out of the blue. I can't stop. It's just a really quick call. But if you have spoken to them, if they're really close to you, you can just say, hi, Mary, it's Neil. How are you? Have a very brief chit chat. And then the next thing you do is you basically state the reason for the call. You set an agenda, which is really just stating the reason for the call. So, hi, Mary, very brief chit chat. How's it going? How's the kids? Blah, 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 blah. The reason for the call is, and then you just state the reason for the call. And the reason for the call is that I recently started a business online and it's going really, really well. And I'm looking for people who would be interested in making really good money working from home on a part-time basis. That's the reason for the call. So that's all you need to say. Now, if you haven't spoken to that person for, let's say, 18 months, or they're an ex-work colleague that you haven't spoken to for 3 years, just say, sorry to ring you out of the blue. The reason for the call is that I recently started a business online. It's going really, really well, and I'm looking for people who'd be interested in making really good money working from home. That's all you've got to say. That's so simple. Anybody could do that. But remember, read Go Pro, because in Go Pro, they also tell you how to say it. But say it, to summarize, with enthusiasm, with energy and excitement. you need to put that into the words, that whatever words you use. This is just an example of the words. Now you can go indirect or direct. So if you know them really well and they're local to you, you can go direct, which means you can say, shut your face, I'm coming around, put the kettle on, I want to show you something. And you can go around and show them. And we have shown people the business like that over the years. But like I said, because it's online, people will listen to you on the strength of the relationship. That's being very direct, and I've deliberately been I've made a caricature of that. I've exaggerated it. If you want to go indirect, you can just say, basically, who do you know who would be interested in earning fantastic money really part-time? So in other words, we're not asking them directly, do they want to join our business? We're saying, I've started the business online. Let's go from the beginning. Hi, Mary, it's Neil. Sorry to phone you out of the blue. The reason for the call is I've started working a business online. It's going really, really well. I'm just looking for people who would be interested in making really good money working from home part-time. Question, who do you know who would be interested in earning fantastic money on a really part-time basis? Now, at that point, usually what then happens is they will say to you, well, what is it? What's it all about? Because you just rung them up out of the blue. You might not have spoken to them for 3 months or 6 months or a year. So naturally, they're going to say, well, what is it? What's it all about? Now, here's the key thing. We cannot explain the business over the phone. So we have to use the tools because we want to duplicate the system. So at this point, we're going to give them a little hook, a little snippet of information to get them to look at some information. So all we say is, well, look, like I said, I haven't got time to explain it over the phone, but if I was to email you some information, including a really short video, would you take a look at it? And they will then agree to look at your video. So what you then need to do is get off the phone, and you basically just say, how soon can you look at it? It's only a 15-minute video. Now, it may not be the 15-minute video. It could be the 4-minute K-Life video, or it could be a different video. There's one with Rob Foster doing the circles. There's lots of different videos out there, and your upline may already have a video that you use for this purpose. So like I said earlier, follow that system. But how soon can you look at it? It's only a 5-minute video, 15-minute video, whatever it might be. And then agree a time with your warm list contact when they're going to watch the video. And then the only other thing you need to do is to follow that up. And just say, great, I'll give you a call 8 o'clock tomorrow just to see if anybody springs to mind. So we haven't asked them directly if they want to join. We've just asked them indirectly, do they know anyone who would be interested in making fantastic money working from home? Now, when you ring them back the next day, you can just ring them back and say, hi, I'm just ringing back to see if anybody springs to mind. And if they're interested, they will tell you. Trust me, they will tell you. And they may say, so is it that clean, easy thing? Or whatever they say. But if they're interested, they tell you. Here's another source of warm list contacts. Here's a really, really important source. And this is partly why I believe Facebook to be amazing. And that is that obviously you can contact loads of people. If you've got lots of connections on Facebook, I would definitely contact them in that way. You can private message people, and you can do it that way as well as ringing people in your mobile phone. But one of the best sources of new distributors, and the reason why you should create your own brand and build your own Facebook group, is that it's inevitable that you will get new distributors from your online selling group. This is Paula Barnes-Williams, who again is in Craig Skellen's, or was in Craig Skellen's selling group, and she joined on the 8th of January, and since then has done over £6,000 of orders. Really consistent retail every single month, just selling products on Facebook. But the point is, as I mentioned earlier, is that Craig Skellen has a residual income on that £6,000 of orders every month. That's the point. So it's not about how much Craig has sold, it's how much the people that we introduce bring into the business. Now here's Craig, and I want to just talk about Craig Skellen specifically because, as I said earlier, if you can put in place getting people started effectively, you can achieve amazing things. And Craig last month was Gavin Scott's top PSG. He had a £19,000 PSG. He's currently sitting at the top of the table for the Harry Crook trophy, and he's also at the top of my business for new business sales. And the reason why he's there, without any shadow of a doubt, is because he's got to grips with this Facebook online process. And here's a little tip that he gave Gavin the other day, and he also did a training at one of our meetings on this. And once you get a new distributor off to a flying start, let's say they do £500 of orders as an example, or let's say they get to the first bonus level, or they do their 30-day challenge, or whatever they do. Let's say they do something which either puts them in profit, or they're off to a flying start. They maybe get the first 10 customers. I don't know, whatever you want to decide. It doesn't really matter. The truth of the matter is, this is so good, it doesn't really matter what they do. But let's say that someone achieves the first bonus level, for example. What you can then do is you can give them recognition on their timeline, but you need to keep it really generic. So don't put well done on your 10%, because that's not the point of the exercise. It's just jargon. And don't mention clean easy at this point. Just say things like, congratulations on your achievement in your new business. Well done, you're really flying. So make it really generic, really general, so that no one can say it's clean easy, or it's catalogs, or it's it's something that might not look impressive. If you just say 10%, that's not actually that impressive. But if you just say well done on your fantastic achievement in your new business, what we're finding is happening following that is that person's warm list, other people are seeing that post on their timeline, and they're messaging them, or they're commenting on the post saying, what's all this about then? What's this business achievement you're involved in? What's all this about? And then we're messaging those people, and they're joining the business. So this is absolutely phenomenal. I can't think of an equivalent way. This is why I think Facebook is unique, because I don't think we could have done that 20 years ago. I just don't think we could. We'd have had to approach the person by telephone and basically pitch the business to them. But this way, what we're finding is that people's warm list contacts are chasing them and chasing us right into the business. They're coming into the business on the back of recognition that they've received or they've seen on other people's timelines. So it's like a bit like a third-party endorsement, if you like. We endorse the new distributor. We tell them how fantastic well they've done, and then their contact list come to us. That's an amazing tip from Craig Skellan. So thanks very much to Craig, and congratulations to Craig Skellan on his achievements so far this year. I think he is winning he's either first or second in the Harry Crook Trophy, and his new gold distributor, Doc McKillen, is also right at the top. Sorry, Doc McKillen is at the top of the Harry Crook. He's at the top of the Distributor Challenge Trophy. He has the fastest growth in our business and in most businesses in Clean Easy, because he's getting people off to a racing start in the business by using Facebook effectively. And that's really what it's about. He doesn't do big retail himself. He only retails probably about £1,000 a month himself, which he does from his customer base, from his catalogs, and he does a bit of online selling. But he's a network marketer. He's building a phenomenal network by using the Sell on FB system that Andy Boswell devised. And he's adapted it slightly, and it's evolved slightly, but basically he's got going with Facebook. Now here's one of the ladies in his team in Northern Ireland, Louise Harper, who's only been in the business just over one full period, and she achieved £4,000 of turnover in her first period through her contact list, through her warm list, not through personal retail. She went 18%. She's since sponsored in other people from her contact list since then, so she'll probably move up even further this period. And that shows you that the potential of this business is phenomenal if we get people off to a flying start, and then we promote and we share the idea and encourage them to share the idea with their contact list. It's really, really important that we go back to the basics of the business, which are create profit and share a good idea with other people. And as I've said, Facebook is uniquely placed to do that. So to conclude, first of all, I believe that we're poised for massive growth. CVSL have confirmed that they want us to go international, that they have licenses in lots of countries, and that we can go for international expansion, 10 countries in 5 years. And I believe it's the online model which will enable us to do that. So if you've already built your customer base, please re-examine what you're doing in terms of building your network and recontact all of your warm list, and encourage people when they join the business to contact their warm list. This is a network marketing business. I don't actually believe we should recruit people purely to retail. I believe we should promote this as a network marketing business. You'll always get people that will just retail. That's fine, absolutely fine. But I believe that we should encourage systematically people to share the idea with people they know and be excited about what we have to offer. Because some of the people that I've just mentioned, their lives will probably be changed forever by them being involved in this business. So people should be excited. That's really, really crucial to this. And if you're not excited, then I think, well, I don't know. If you're not fired up, I think your wood must be wet. I really do. Anyway, here's the final point. This is the key point. This is the Paris point. The business will duplicate quickly and easily, because all we've got to do is show people a video, introduce them for 50 quid, get them into profit in about a week to 10 days, shouldn't take any longer. Then they have a profitable business, and they can then invite other people to take a look at the business. It should duplicate quickly and easily. And that's basically where I believe we are in the business. And I think it's the most exciting time that I can remember, because we've not had that ability in the business for so long, because when the kit was £193 and people had to put out 200 catalogs twice a week, it was still fantastic then, but it's not as duplicatable as inviting someone to look at something where they could maybe work while their children are asleep from within their own home on a laptop or a tablet or a phone, and they could make money. And I've even spoken to people in the last few weeks who've said to me they got up on a Saturday morning, got themselves a cup of coffee, went on their mobile phone and stayed working in Facebook all weekend. And I just think it's incredible. I really do. So anyway, I hope that helps you. But we are in a really, really exciting place. And I'd like to thank you all for staying on. I'm not even sure now how I hand back to Andy Boswell. I can't remember. But I want to say thank you very much. I will hand you back to Andy. And I'm sorry about the late kickoff, but hopefully I've got through that in a reasonable time. Thank you very much.